Hey guys, it's Greg from East Coast Eyes, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a subject I don't touch on so much on my channel, and I feel a little bit bad about it. Every now and again I shout it out on Instagram or Twitter, but it is goalie heads. I know I don't talk enough about it because there are so few goalies compared to regular field players, but that's not quite fair. So today we're going to talk about goalie sticks. So I'm not the best at stringing goalie heads. I actually haven't strung that many in my life, and it is more different than you would think from stringing a field head. But I'll share with you guys what I know, and maybe you guys have something that you can teach me down in the comments. I would really love to hear your input, and talk about where I'm going to go with it in the future on trying to teach you guys to string goalie heads, since it is a lot different. So this is the first goalie head that I ever strung. It's got 12 diamond East Coast mesh. You saw Mike play goalie against me with this head. It turned out pretty good. It did take me a little while to do, but the pocket is kind of mid-low, and the channel is really tight, almost too tight for 12 diamond, I think. And what that causes is a little bit too much whip. But I think once it broke in, it got a lot smoother. So the Goalmaster obviously is not an ideal head to string for a goalie, but it was a good one to learn on for my first one. So I did learn a little bit about goalie stringing through doing this head. And then the second head that I strung was this STX Eclipse that you guys have seen in the back of some of my videos and really requested to learn a little bit more about. So this head was actually going to be a display head for us, but has since been sacrificed to the backup goalie head for our men's league. That's why you see a whole bunch of mud and dirt on it, because it's actually gotten some use now, which I like because I can actually get some feedback on the stringing that I've done in this head from an actual goalie who's used to playing goalie. So this is the Eclipse Classic, one of the most popular goalie heads of all time, in black. It's got that backward lean to it, a little more flexible than the new Shield, but overall one of the most popular goalie heads that has ever been made. So this is the 12 diamond East Coast mesh, and you can see in this I went for a little bit more mid of a pocket and a little bit deeper of a pocket. This thing is a pretty big bag. So I really wanted to focus on getting that right, and the channel on this is pretty solid, not quite as tight as the other one, but relatively tight, and turned out really nice. So this head actually performs pretty well. It's not perfect. I think it does have a good bit of whip on it, and I'm still working on getting all the kinks out. So I'll tell you guys how I strung it, so maybe some of you guys can help me improve upon the pattern or something along those lines. It's got plenty of depth and plenty of channel. But maybe it might be a little tight through this area, so it's a little abrupt. So that is one thing that could be improved upon, most assuredly. So we'll probably skip the pattern, but what I did mostly was just mostly doubles, a double, a double, a double, a double, and a double, all doubles, and just one or two interlocks at the top. So I found you have to balance pulling the mesh down too tight here, because then it's going to make this really steep, defined pocket, which is not that ideal for 12 diamond goalie mesh, because it's going to make it hook real bad and whip a good bit. So that is this one. It's a cool looking stick overall. Makes a good backup stick for a goalie. Mike has to jump in sometimes and use it. So then I had my first adventure into 20 diamond goalie mesh and stringing. So I did a tutorial for the Lacrosse Network about 20 diamond in the Shield. That pocket was very similar to this one, but I made some changes. This has taken me a long time to get right, and so you guys can let me know how I did in the end on it. So this is white 20D and a STX Shield. Got a nice, I guess, mid pocket in it, and it has, that's a little crooked, I guess, but I don't think it's actually crooked. Ended up with a really nice goalie channel in it. The 12 diamond is definitely easier to string than the 20 diamond. But the 20 diamond does give you a nicer channel and a little bit more feel on the ball. So I really like the 20 diamond. It doesn't have any shooters in it yet because I was still tweaking the pattern, and still I'm not completely done tweaking with the pattern. So once I am done, maybe another tutorial or video will be due. So I was really having trouble with the 20 diamond, getting it to flatten out through here and make it so the channel wasn't too tight and too abrupt, but you still got, it wasn't a big bowl where the ball was just rolling around in there. That it was nice and tight on the ball. So that is how that came out. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's one of my better efforts as far as goalie stringing go. And finally, I've got one that I just did on an STX Guardian, which is pretty much the same exact thing as the Eclipse with some rubber on it. Other than that, the same thing. This is actually for a younger player, someone that Ben knew. The son needed a head. So I made the pocket a little more shallow, a little less channeled, so that it wouldn't whip so much, and they wanted the U in it. So you can see the pocket in this stick is a mid, a little less channeled, and a little more shallow than the other one. So you can see it's probably performed very, very well for this younger player. It doesn't need a huge bag. It doesn't need it to whip a ton. And it was very similar to the Eclipse string. So that is my experience with goalie heads so far. I've got an STX Shield that I'm currently stringing up with some 12 diamond mesh. So we'll see how that goes. And I'll probably keep that one as my display stick. But I think it'll turn out pretty well. So give me some pointers. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see as far as learning how to string goalie heads in the future. You know, as I perfect it, as you guys help me, I'll be able to convey that image to you guys and maybe teach you guys how to string some goalie heads, because it is a little more complicated than stringing a field head. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't, and have a great day.